What if I told you the NBA's real puppet master isn't LeBron James? The cameras point to him, the headlines praise him, but behind the curtain is Kawhi Leonard, the silent assassin who bends franchises to his will. He forced his way out of San Antonio, he changed how the entire league thinks about rest and load management, and now reports of secret side deals raise the question: has Kawhi been finessing the NBA all along? I'm going to talk about how Kawhi Leonard has been finessing the NBA better than anybody, even LeBron James, and I'll break down how he's been playing the league since day one. Now, the latest controversy involving Kawhi Leonard involves an alleged $28 million deal with a startup company called Aspiration. Now, I'll dig deeper more into that in this video, but let's start in San Antonio, where the signs were already showing early on that Kawhi only knows how to do business one way, and that's the claw way. Before all the drama, Leonard's time in San Antonio looked like the beginning of a dynasty. Drafted in 2011, he quickly became the model Spur, quiet, disciplined, and relentless on defense. By 2014, he was Finals MVP, shutting down LeBron James and delivering the Spurs their fifth championship. He went on to win back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards, building a reputation as the NBA's most fair two-way player. To many, Kawhi wasn't just a rising star. He was the chosen heir to Tim Duncan, the next great cornerstone of Spurs culture. But that picture-perfect partnership didn't last, because by 2018, Kawhi was locked in a bitter standoff with the Spurs. It all started with a lingering quad injury. Kawhi's camp insisted that the team mismanage his recovery, while Spurs doctors cleared him to play. The tension only grew when teammates like Tony Parker publicly questioned the severity of his injury, calling their own setbacks 100 times worse. Fans in San Antonio felt betrayed. Kawhi, once seen as the humble successor to Tim Duncan, suddenly became distant and uncommunicative. He stopped sitting with the team during games. He barely spoke to the media, and in a city built on loyalty and trust, that silence was deafening. What started as a dispute over an injury diagnosis exploded into a cold war with the team. Kawhi didn't speak, he didn't play. He just disappeared. Until his camp, led by Uncle Dennis Robertson, forced the Spurs' hand and orchestrated a trade to the Toronto Raptors. When Kawhi's camp finally forced the trade, the Spurs community felt blindsided. What was supposed to be the next great chapter in the franchise's history ended in bitterness, leaving scars between the player, the team, and the city that embraced him. But out of that chaos came a new beginning. The Spurs shipped Kawhi north of the border in a blockbuster trade with the Toronto Raptors. At first, Raptors fans weren't sure what to expect. After all, Kawhi had just forced his way out of San Antonio and only had 1 year left in his contract. But what looked like a gamble turned into one of the greatest payoffs in NBA history. Kawhi delivered one of the most dominant playoff runs ever, capped by the legendary game shot against Philadelphia and the Finals MVP performance against the Golden State Warriors. In just one season, he gave Toronto its first championship, transforming skepticism into adoration and rewriting his reputation from quitter to conqueror. Because he proved that he could walk into any franchise and deliver the biggest prize in basketball, an NBA championship. So when free agency hit in 2019, Kawhi just wasn't another star on the market. He was the most powerful player in the NBA. Teams lined up to pitch him, but Kawhi and his camp made it very clear: if you want him, you have to play by his rules. Now, every team in the NBA wanted Kawhi, well, except the Spurs maybe, because they knew what they were getting with him. They were getting a hired assassin who could go out there and elevate a team to the next level and possibly win a championship in his first try. But reportedly, Kawhi and his camp wasn't just listening to on-court pitches. One of the biggest suitors for Kawhi were the Lakers, but the Lakers reportedly backed off when the request crossed into impossible territory. But there was one team in LA who wanted his services by any means: the Los Angeles Clippers. Why? Because they're probably desperate. They're probably tired of just being the little brother to the Lakers and having to share an arena with them and everything like that. So they probably just wanted to do something that was going to shift the course of basketball. And Kawhi Leonard presented the opportunity for that to happen. So what did the Clippers do? They didn't just agree to Leonard's terms. They gutted their future, trained a mountain of draft picks and young players to line Paul George because Kawhi made a condition of him signing. And if you remember one of the players involved in the Paul George trade, he happens to go by SGA, and he just won the MVP and he just won a championship with the OKC Thunder. It was the ultimate power move. One player dictating the face of an entire franchise. And once again, Kawhi proved he could bend an NBA team to his will without ever raising his voice. When Kawhi joined the Los Angeles Clippers in 2019, fans were excited, but they also knew one thing: Kawhi doesn't play by anyone's rules but his own. And one of his biggest tools, load management. Now for Leonard, load management isn't just about skipping back-to-back games. It's a calculated strategy to protect his body, especially his knees. After a partial ACL tear in the 2021 season, the Clippers have taken every precaution to keep him healthy, and the numbers tell the story. Since joining the Clippers, Kawhi has played in just over 56% of possible regular season games, missing about 206 of 472 games due to injuries, rest, and other personal matters. In the 2024-25 season alone, he missed the first 34 games with knee inflammation and later stepped away temporarily to attend to family matters during the Southern California wildfires. Since his NBA debut, Leonard has played in 733 out of a possible 1,112 regular season games, about 65.9%. That's why it's such a big asterisk around Kawhi's resume, because as accomplished as he is, his availability has always been in question. So when you hear analysts talk about him, they always use that disclaimer, if healthy. If healthy, he's the best player in the league. If healthy, he can dominate a playoff series. If healthy, I believe he could lead the Clippers to a championship. That's always been the narrative. But some people, they get tired of it and they think that Kawhi is one of the worst superstars the sport has ever seen. The impact of Kawhi's load management even forced the NBA to switch up some of his rules and revise his policies on resting players, even to the point where it's affecting players' earning power. Because even in the current CBA, there's a rule that states that you must play a minimum of 65 games to be eligible for player awards. Why player awards are important? Because the more awards you get, the more accolades you receive, the more money you can make. Now, out of all the ripple effects Kawhi has had on the league, nothing is bigger than what's happening now. The latest bombshell involving Kawhi Leonard wasn't covered by Pablo Torre on his podcast, Pablo Torre Finds Out. Now, Torre did some investigative journalism, and he revealed through his findings that Kawhi's LLC called KL2 Aspire signed a staggering $28 million deal with a green investment startup called Aspiration. Now, the craziest part about this deal is that Leonard didn't have to do nothing. It was pretty much a no-show job. All he had to do was collect the money. Now, what makes this report even crazier is that Aspiration was heavily backed by Clippers owner Steve Ballmer. The Clippers even did sponsorship deals with this company too. Now, this company collapsed into bankruptcy recently, and the co-founder was arrested for fraud. And now that all of these things have transpired, this is where the information about Kawhi Leonard was leaked out, that he was allegedly involved with this company with an endorsement deal where he had to do nothing. Now, I know a lot of y'all probably thinking, Kawhi just got an endorsement deal with a company that was affiliated with the Clippers. Like, what's the big deal? This is why it's a big deal. Because a lot of people believe that the Clippers orchestrated this deal so they could funnel money to Leonard outside the salary cap so they can have more leverage to sign players. And if it's true, the Clippers could face massive penalties. I'm talking about fines, loss of draft picks, and even Leonard's contract could be voided too. But the biggest question that has to be asked, did Kawhi and this camp strong on the Clippers into putting this deal on the table, forcing the organization to bend the rules just to make him happy? Now, the league has launched an investigation into this matter. And if this is proven to be circumvention of the cap, they'll have a reference point to go back to when it comes out to levying punishment. Because a similar situation happened in 2000 involving the Minnesota Timberwolves and Joe Smith. Back in 2000, Joe Smith had signed 3 one-year contracts below market value, with the promise of a lucrative deal after the final year. When the scheme was exposed, the NBA imposed severe penalties on the Timberwolves. The Wolves were fined $3.5 million, lost 5 first-round draft picks, and had Smith contracts voided. Additionally, owner Glenn Taylor was barred from team operations for a period of time, and GM Kevin McHale was suspended. Now, during the early 2000s, this is when Kevin Garnett started to hit his peak. Now, if we have to draw a parallel, if the allegations against Leonard and the Clippers are proven true, the team could face similar repercussions. Under the NBA's collective bargaining agreement, penalties for salary cap circumvention can include fines up to $7.5 million, forfeiture of draft picks, and the possibility of voiding player contracts. Clippers owner Steve Ballmer has denied any wrongdoing, stating that the team has always done the right thing regarding Leonard's contract. As this investigation unfolds, the basketball world watches closely, aware that the consequences of this case could echo the past. LeBron James may dominate the spotlight, but Kawhi Leonard controls the shadows. From secret side deals to forcing trades to load management, he has bent franchises and even the league itself to his will. Quiet, calculated, untouchable. In the game of basketball, Kawhi Leonard isn't just a player, he's the silent puppet master.
I'm a fun guy. Obviously, I love the game of basketball. I mean, there's just more questions you have to ask me in order for me to tell you about myself. I just can't give you a whole spiel. I don't even know where you're sitting at.
So let me know what you think in the comments. What do you think the outcome of this Kawhi situation will be? That's all I got for today. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'm Coach Smith. Until next time, I'm out.